So hello. So this is my first video. And sa first video, ang unang problem nga itakol is a problem about inequality. So kung tulokon tang ini nga equation, to tama gid kabudlay. Given nga equation may x to the 7 tapos may ari pa sa denominator nga x minus 5 raised to 5. So paano to inyo siya i-solve on? So if damo kita di time, pwede to siya expand, simplify ta siya. Kaso tama ka uti. Tapos, pwede naman siyang i-graph. I-graph ta siya. Then, i-analyze ang graph ta. But given nga why kita ti capacity nga maka-graph accurately, i-try ta siya itakal sa different nga paagi. So, kung tulokon tang ining equation, may 5 ka major variable. May ari kita nga x minus 3 squared, x plus 2 cubed, x to the 7th, tapos may ari kita nga x plus 1 squared, x minus 5 to the 5. So, i-set up tang ini siya in a way like this. Ibutang tagi ang 5 ka variable. X minus 3 squared, and then x plus 2 cubed, and then x to the 7th, and then x plus 1 squared, and then x minus 5 to the 5. Siya. And then, ibutang ta ang major points nga kung sa diin ang kada variable nga siya magiging 0. So, ang x minus 3 square, ang x minus 3 magiging 0 if ang values ng x is 3. Ang tadi 3. And then, this 1 becomes a 0 if x is minus 2. This 1 if x is 0. This 1 if x is minus 1. And this one if x is 5. So yeah. And then, ang next process is i-analyze na siya. What will happen sa kada variable nga ini given sa kada values ng x nga dire? So, unahon ta na yung mga mahapos. So, we know that this equation becomes a 0 if the value of x is minus 2. So, let's put 0 here. Tapos, ang ining value, ang ining variable magiging 0 if ang values ng x is 3. So, ibutang tadi 0 man. Ang ining value 0 gani kung ang value ang x is 0 man. And we know this one is 0 here. And this one 0 if x is 5. So, amo na sina. Malanda na. But, anong matabo sa kada variable nga hindi kung lain naman ang values ng x? So, first, ang x minus 3 squared. Anong matabo? Before that, let me put this. X is less than minus 2. If x is greater than 5. Anong matabo sa x minus 3 squared if ang values ng x is less than minus 2? So, let's say minus 4. This becomes minus 7 squared. But because of this square value, even number siya, so any number, even negative, kung i-square mo is positive. So, if x is less than minus 2, positive man siya gihapon. If it's minus 2, this becomes minus 5. But because again, squared siya, positive man siya. If it's between minus 2 and minus 1, say minus 1.5, this becomes minus 4.5. But because of 2, positive. And it follows the rest. Positive. 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 Positive here. Positive. And if it's greater than 5, positive man siya gihapon. How about sa x plus 2 cube? What will happen sa mo sining nga variable kung ang values ng x is less than minus 2? So, if it's x less than minus 2, let's say minus 3 or minus 4, this becomes minus 1 or minus 2. But i-cube siya because odd number siya. Any negative number raised odd number is still negative. So, this becomes negative here. Manandang 0 siya. How about if it's between minus 2 and minus 1? If it's between minus 2 and minus 1, ang ini variable magiging positive and raised to 3, still positive. And the same goes sa rest. positive, 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 so positive. Sa x to the 7 naman, maintindihan ta naman nga any negative numbers raised to an odd number is negative. So we know nga sa value ng x, if x is less than minus 2, negative siya. And then that. And if it's greater than 0, positive siya. And now we analyze na naman sa diri na part. X plus 2, if it's less than minus 2, this becomes negative. But again, because of the square thing, it becomes positive. Same goes sa rest. And if x minus 5, sorry, I forgot 5 here. X minus 5 to the 5, if it's less than minus 2, this becomes negative. Raised to 5, still negative. So as in here, then here, here, negative, 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 negative. Only difference lang sa x minus 5 kay 0 siya. If it's greater, x is greater than 5, this becomes positive. Raised to 5 is positive. So you got this table. Now, we analyze na siya. I-analyze na naman siya base equation niya ini. So, let's take for example if x is less than minus 2. So, if x is less than minus 2, ang top bit, ang x minus 3 squared is positive. So, let's say it's positive. And then, ang x minus 2 cube, magiging negative based aton diri nga table. So, it's negative here. And then, ang x to the 7 ta, magiging negative based sa table ta. So, it's minus here. And then, divide sa x plus 1 squared. Sa table ta is positive. So, that's positive. And then, x minus 5 raised to 5 is negative here. So, kung tulukuntay na siya, positive times negative divided sa positive times negative gives us negative. So, if x is less than minus 2, this whole equation becomes negative. So, let's put a minus sign here. And how about for this case? If x is minus 2, this equation becomes positive. This variable becomes positive. This variable becomes 0. This variable becomes negative. This variable becomes positive. And this one becomes negative. So it's positive times 0 times negative divided by positive times negative. Because the numerator is 0, so the whole equation becomes 0. So ending apart, being 0. And how about if it's between minus 2 and minus 1? It's between minus 2, positive, positive, negative, positive, negative, that makes positive. Let's say positive here. And if x is minus 1, this becomes positive, positive, negative, 0, and minus 1. And negative, I mean, sorry. So, you got a negative at numerator, tapos sa denominator ta 0. So, that makes the whole equation undefined. So, if it's undefined, let's put x. So, if we analyze na siyang whole thing, we got positive times negative, divided by positive, divided by negative. So, we got positive there. And then if x is 0, we got positive times 0, divided by positive times negative, we got 0 because ang numerator is 0. Ang x to the 7 is 0, numerator is 0, makes the whole equation 0. And if it's between 0 and 3, that makes the whole thing negative. If it's 3, that's 0. If it's between 3 and 5, that's negative. Okay, if it's 5, that makes the denominator 0, and that's undefined. And if it's x is greater than 5, that's positive. So we got that whole thing. But if nanamunta sa equation ta, we got this less than or equal to nga symbol. So that means pangitaon ta lang ang values ang x nga kung sa din ang whole equation nga ini less than or equal to 0. And based aton diring final set, ang values ang x lang nga kung sa diin 0 siya or less than 0 is when x is minus 2 and when x is less than minus 2. Tapos, when x is 0 and when x is between 3 and 5. So, our solution, this dark circle means included siya. And then, this dark circle means included, and this hollow circle means hindi siya included. So, ang set of values ta nga kung sa diin, ang equation nga ini maging insakto is when x is less than minus 2 and if when x is less than 5 but greater than or equal to 0. Emphasize ko, x is less than or equal to 2 and when x is less than 5 but greater than or equal to 0. Gingamit ko na di ang less than because hindi included ang 5 and ginamit ko di ang greater than or equal to because included ang 0. So this one included man ang minus 2. So yeah, there you go. The solution is this whole thing. So even though tama ka complicated ang aton nga equation, pero na kuha ta magyapon ng iyang solution set, which is very good.